Well, you do know the Old Fadama, which is used to be called Sodom and Gomorrah. They're not comfortable with that name. We understand that there have been some clashes there. I'm talking about Old Fadama. Our man Latif Idris is on the ground, and we can go to him for some information on what's happening there. Hello, Latif, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Good. Tell us what's happening at Old Fadama. We understand there's some clashes.
The latest is that the police they've launched manhunt for the mastermind of Sunday's attack that led to, as we speak, 3 people are in critical conditions for the machete and gun wounds they suffered as a result
before
of
I let you go on, Latif, you speak about Sunday's clashes. Tell us about that, and then we can go on with the update.
Yeah, Sunday, I have information about some clashes within this community. This time, we've had some clashes already, but this one took a different turn. This recent clashes is within the MPP ranks. It has nothing to do with NDC MPP. This one is within the MPP. We know that when a new government came in, that was the Akufo-Addo government, some members of the New Patriotic Party within this community started driving the NDC guys out of their rooms and their properties, demolishing some and taking over some. Now they've established themselves as the owners of Old Fadama, if you like, and they've now installed new chief, who I'm just told is called Bullet. Now, Bullet, as he started ruling, if you like, this community, came up with some tactics that wasn't pleasant with some of the NPP supporters. So yesterday, they mobilized a huge number of supporters of the governing NPP who came to attack this Bullet chief. He also didn't take it lightly and also reacted same. That resulted in the 3 people sustaining injuries who we told are now receiving treatment at the hospital, where 2 of them sustained machete wounds and 1 sustained bullet wounds. We haven't seen these 3 individuals as we speak, but that is what the police are telling us as far as Sunday's clashes here at Old Fadama is concerned, Gifty.
So what do you say now, which will be the updates, is that at this point the police has mounted a manhunt for the person who's responsible for this. Is that the Bullets guy, or is this another person?
So Gifty, with the information that I've just gathered on the ground here at Old Fadama, it is that the manhunt is now on this guy, this Bullet, who is the new chief of Old Fadama in the ranks of the MPP. The police wouldn't want to put out this information out there, but from what we gathered on the ground so far, we can confidently say that the manhunt is on Bullet, who was point that has
It's quite difficult to hear you, Latif. I think that your positioning is not very favorable to the telephone line, but we'll get back to you, Latif. Latif Idris, it's reporting from Old Fadama, where there have been some clashes. There actually were some clashes yesterday, and today the police is on a manhunt for the person believed to be responsible for this. We need to go over to Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament is addressing a press conference. We need to hear what it's all about.
I would proceed to welcome him and to ask him of his mission. But before you do that, I want to introduce to you the Speaker and the team of leaders who are welcoming you this afternoon to Parliament. The Speaker of the 7th Parliament of the 4th Republic is the Right Honourable Professor Aaron Michael Okoye. He was a Member of Parliament for 2 consecutive times. But before then, he had served in your shoes as Ghana's High Commissioner to India. And in his last term in Parliament, he was the second Deputy Speaker. On his immediate left is the Majority Chief Whip, Honorable Amiak Sheme. He's also serving his his 3rd term in Parliament. Next to him is the Minority Chief Whip, Honorable Mubarak Muntaka Muhammad. also doing his 4th term in Parliament. On my immediate right here is Mr. Matthew Fatiwia, the head of the Speaker's Secretariat. Then the acting director of public affairs has just left, Ms. Kitado, was my left here. And next is Mrs. Eunice Abaka, an official of the Parliamentary Relations and Protocol Department. I am Richard Achampo, in charge of Parliamentary Relations and Protocol. So without much ado, Mr. Speaker, I will quickly welcome you and then you will proceed to give us your information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, it's a rare privilege to welcome you to Parliament House today. As it's customary in Ghana, we'll ask you your mission after telling you Akwa. And we'd like to know the good wind that blew you to this house this afternoon. So we are here to listen to you.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank you, Right Honorable Michael Kay, Honorable Minority of a Member of Parliament, and Honorable Majority Member of Parliament, media, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you for this opportunity time. I am here to congratulate you, Honorable, for your elect to Parliament, and I convey my government and my speaker to your Honorable, congratulate to you, and this is official letter to congratulate Dr. Larijani to your Honorable. And the other, we have a very good relationship between our two countries. This is list of Parliamentary and Iran and Ghana members of Friendship Society, and for this new parliament we need to renew again the new list of the parliament. We have very good relation between our two countries, and now we have some plan and program for this country. We have some organization and some private sector in Ghana. Red of Crescent, one of them. They are helping to this country for health. The other, Islamic University, including the Legon University, with Islamic and Christian students, not only Islamic students, not only Muslim students, but also Christian, both of them. About 1,000 students we have there. And the other, we have agricultural of Jihad. They are working about 30 years, more than 30 years in this country, and help to this country to, I think, about 8 provinces. They work there. They built it, some schools, some mosques, some clinic, and some land that they develop it for agriculture. Ghana is a beautiful country and with too much resources, and Iran is the same. We have oil, gas, refinery, petrochemical, energy, and with good ability and capacity. We have technology, and engineering resources and nanotechnology and so on. And we can come to this country again to together and share together for everything. You have a good cocoa mine and the other resources, and we have good relations together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think it's just right that at this juncture we'll have the letters read once they've been delivered to us, so that we appreciate it. If you may, please.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the letter reads, "In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, Right Honorable Professor Aaron Mike Okoye, Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, I'd like to express my most sincere congratulations on your election as the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. I am confident that the friendly relations existing between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Republic of Ghana during your tenure as the Speaker of Parliament will further expand in all fields, especially parliamentary friendship. I wish you good health and success and prosperity for the government and the noble nation of Ghana." And it's signed Ali Larijani, Speaker of the Islamic Consultative Assembly of the Islamic Republic of Iran. And then a second letter says, and it's from the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Accra, "In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. The Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Accra presents its compliments to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Regional Integration of the Republic of Ghana, and has the honor to forward here with the list of the Iranian members of Parliament who also form membership of the Iran-Ghana Parliamentary Friendship Group in the Parliament of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran avails itself of this opportunity to renew to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration the assurances of its highest consideration." And it is dated on the 28th of October 2016. I think it's an earlier communication to Parliament. Speaker.
And we exchange for a president between our two countries. President Mahama went to my country, visited my country, and our president came to this country. And early, 2 months ago, our vice president came here for inauguration of this new government. Dr. Shariat Madani came here. And we are going to improve and increase our relations, especially in economy.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, Your Excellency. We are very grateful for your visit to the Parliament of Ghana this afternoon. It's a further evidence of the good relationship between our two nations. As indeed you stated, we've had topmost visits at the highest level, presidency, and in fact our president was last to visit your nation after a similar visit earlier on, and is good evidence of what has happened between our countries since several years ago, when diplomatic relations were established among our people. We are very much mindful of your willingness to assist, exchange programs with us at any given time. And I'm very much aware of what is happening in the University of Ghana, for example, and the assistance given to Islamic and other students generally, as well as the subsequent opening of a whole university, which you strongly supported, the Islamic University.
Sincere apologies for that technical hitch there, but if you are following, that is the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quaid there, receiving the Iranian ambassador to Ghana there. The speaker is supposed to address a press conference much later, and we're still there. We'll bring you those visuals. But before that, let me remind you of what happened earlier this morning in Parliament. Like I said, Catherine Afeku, who is minister-designate for tourism, was vetted this morning. Well, one of the issues that have come up, and if you have followed the vetting, you do know that national service, whether or not people have done a national service, one of the issues that have come up following Madam Otiko Jaba's vetting. Now, Madam Catherine Afeku today has been explaining why she did not do her national service today. You can take a watch.
You have not indicated under your work experience if you have carried out your national service. Are you able to tell this committee if you have done your national service?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was living in Kenya, Nairobi at that time, and because my parents were there, I was not given the opportunity to be in Ghana to undertake the national service. So no, I did not take national service. I actually worked in Kenya for the 3 months that I came out of university. That was in that culture seen as serving the nation when I worked at Zavet, Kenya, but I was not in Ghana at that time, Mr. Chairman.
But when you returned to Ghana, did you take steps? Because the National Service Act 1980 allows you to apply to the board to defer your national service or to be granted an exemption. Did you carry out those steps?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I did not. And if there is an opportunity to do that, I will quickly avert my attention to it and solve it. Thank you, sir.
I'm sure Chairman will encourage you to do that. The National Service Law is very clear on that.
That is Catherine Afeku there saying, or basically indicating her willingness to sort out that issue of the national service. Very soon I'll bring you what she said about how she intends to boost local tourism and what she knows about the Tourism Development Fund. At this moment, we need to go back to Parliament. The Speaker is still speaking.
And I believe that this was well informed by the difficulty of your terrain and the zeal to be self-sufficient and self-dependent. This we have noticed in various literature, the whole desire to be self-sufficient in people. Maybe the war helped you to proceed in that pathway, but it's a very, very important thing. Today in our country, we're working towards one district, one factory, manufacturing whatever we use to a very large extent here, using local raw materials, including brick, the whole brick industry for our buildings, you know. And that kind of indigenous approach, which you have made some serious strides upon, which will be useful, I believe, for the exchanges. You mentioned the possibility of some members of your parliament, as well as at the highest level, you said, visit, and we are seriously extending our invitation to him through you, and that will be followed up by our appropriate officials in that regard, all towards a stronger relationship with your dear nation. So, Your Excellency, you are most welcome. For the privilege is ours to meet with you on behalf of our peoples. And I trust that both at the parliamentary, economic, and social, as well as other levels, will cooperate deeper and deeper with the good country. I will ask my colleagues to also make some remarks, and then we'll ask you to make further remarks as you choose.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and you are most welcome, Ambassador. Rationally, in our country, when the Speaker or when the elder speaks, it ends it. Since the Speaker has given us.
That is what's happening in Parliament. We're still waiting for the Speaker to address the press conference that is expected later in that conversation. But the Speaker has just been speaking about the relationship between Ghana and the Islamic Republic of Iran. He indicated that there's been top-notch visits, and including that of former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was here in the country. He also spoke about parliamentary exchanges, talking about getting parliamentarians to in the two countries to exchange between the countries to learn from each other, and that is expected to boost the relationship between the two countries. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our parliamentary correspondent. He's standing by to bring us some information that our cameras are not able to bring you at this moment. Hello, Joseph.
Yes, good afternoon to you again.
Good afternoon. Good to have you. I trust you're doing well. Let's talk about what's happening in Parliament today. What is this visit all about? Is this just about boosting the diplomatic ties between the two countries?
Exactly. The idea is that the Speaker of Parliament in Iran has actually sent some messages of congratulations to the Speaker of Parliament here in Ghana following him taking over the office as Speaker of the Ghanaian Parliament. And so a letter to that effect was read a while ago, specifically written and signed by the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament. And beyond that, the Iranian Ambassador to Ghana has also been indicating to the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Michael, that they will be available to provide any necessary support that Ghana might need in terms of helping advance our democracy and also to help our parliament grow. In fact, the main occasion that we are waiting for is for the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael, to address the press on his vision for the next 4 years as Speaker of Parliament.
Okay.
It's expected that he will be outlining what he hopes to do to make Parliament a stronger institution and ensure that it plays its necessary oversight by the executive arm of government. And so that main agenda, which is the press conference by the Speaker, will be beginning any moment from now.
Okay.
We are made to understand that this session with the ambassador for Iran was supposed to last for just about 10 minutes. And after that, the Iranian ambassador will be escorted out of the chamber, and then the Speaker of Parliament will begin his address to members of the media on what his plans are for the House over the next 4 years.
Okay. Well, we're standing by for that press conference, but I need to engage you on what's happened at the vetting committee today. So far, Madam Catherine Afeku and Oseiche Mensah's majority leader have both been vetted. One of the issues that have come up and which we have just played was Madam Catherine Afeku on her national service issues, that she did not do her national service, just like Otiko Jaba. And we know that that issue has upheld the approval of Otiko Jaba as minister. Now, what was the mood after the vetting of Mrs. Catherine Afeku about her national service and the fact that she hadn't done it, even though she indicated her willingness to do it if given the opportunity?
Well, clearly, when you compare how this issue has been treated, looking at Madam Catherine Afeku and also Madam Otiko Jaba, looks like with Madam Catherine Afeku, it's not exactly been a big issue, that the minority, for example, has been raising. So even post the issues of the vetting, it's not really become a dominant issue for a conversation. What has actually become, something that everyone else has been talking about has been alleged conviction some time back over issues of alleged fraud, something that when she appeared before the committee, one of the members of the appointment committee raised some time ago, having to do with herself and her husband and some Americans that they engaged in business activities with. And a news report that came out that indicated that following that, herself and her husband were convicted of the alleged fraudulent incident, and they were fined more than 217,000 cedis which they paid half of and did not pay the other half. Madam Katrina Fitu, as we had explained, she indicated that this is something which was not a criminal conviction, but it was a civil case, and so this is not something that should stop her from becoming a member of the executive arm of government, and specifically a minister. I've been speaking to some members of the appointment committee, and they've indicated that this is an issue that they would want to look into further going forward and be very clear in their minds that really she was not convicted of fraud, as the news media reported, and that this was actually a civil case which shouldn't affect whether or not she wants to become a minister. So the committee members have indicated they would want to prove and get the necessary documents on that to really clear that, and that may well be the main issue that may occupy their mind going forward.
Has that not been an issue? I'm talking about the National Service, even though we've got this court case pending. That has the National Service not been an issue because of the way perhaps she answered it? If we can juxtapose that with the posture of Madam Otiko Jaba, do you get the sense that that's the reason? Exactly.
Looks like the members of the appointment committee, particularly on the minority side, think that when she appeared before them, as in Madam Katrina Fitu's appearance before them, she was calm, she was cool, she responded to the questions that she ought to. They think that they are quite comfortable with her demeanor, and they don't have issues with her temperament. And so they would really not want to blow the concern about the National Service issue out of proportion, in quotes, as someone may want to put it. Because if you recall, with the issue of Madam Otiko Jaba, the main concern that the minority has anchored their issues on has to do with why, they think that she, being someone who allegedly insulted the president, and her being given the platform to retract that insult, she did not take advantage of that. That's actually the main issue that they raised with her, although apart from raising that issue, they've also, pointed to the concern about the National Service Act, which says that you need to do your national service, or all of that things being equal. And so it looks like since they are quite comfortable with her posture during her appearance before the committee, they've not really raised issues about the concerns having to do with the national service. But I'm sure it's something that in the next few days we'll know more about.
Right.
Definitely, once the vetting is done, the appointment committee will be preparing a report on the vetting of the nominees, and as to whether the minority side in particular will support her or otherwise, we wait to see what will happen. Okay.
Well, as we wait to see what will happen, and as you are standing by to bring us the feed on the Speaker's announcement on his vision for Parliament, would you be able to tell us what happened with Majority Leader Osei Mensah-Bonsu's vetting? He is being vetted to become Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. It was pretty quick, wasn't it?
It was. It lasted for, well, more than just a little over 30 minutes. But if you look at how previous versions, previous vetting sessions have gone, some of the nominees have appeared before the committee and lasted for up to 4 hours, up to 3 hours. Madam Afeti's vetting lasted for, well, close to 3 hours, and they grilled her on all issues pertaining to her CV, issues about her track record and everything. But
that story was different for Mr. Osei Mensah-Bonsu, wasn't it?
Yes, in her case, they were quite brief. The members indicated that this is a leader of the House, and when it comes to him, he's someone that they know already. They only focused on just a few issues. For example, Joseph Gilechire, who is one of the members of Parliament, raised concerns about how he would be providing oversight, as in Parliament, be providing oversight over the executive, when the majority leader, who is the leader of government business in Parliament, is a member of the executive himself. So they asked him about that, and he indicated that as far as he is concerned, when you look at the United Kingdom, virtually all the people who are appointed as ministers are members of Parliament, and so they are still able to provide the necessary oversight regardless of that. And so for him, that shouldn't exactly be an issue. That was one of the questions that came up. Another question was also put to him as to whether there are any laws of the country that he wants changed going forward. And he, for example, suggested that he doesn't understand why Parliament is unable to direct the Auditor General, although the Auditor General's report comes directly to Parliament, and that it's only the executive arm that is able to direct the Auditor General. He thinks that is something that should change, and he also raised concerns about there not being up to 30% of female representation in Parliament, as is required by the International Parliamentary Union. Those were virtually the brief issues that he touched on over the 30-minute duration that he answered questions before members of the appointment committee, and only about 4 or 5 members of the committee actually asked him questions, just to show respect to him as a leader of the House who they know, and they already have enough confidence in as someone who will deliver, and so they think there is no need to continue any further interrogation of him. They say this is a practice that has pertained to all previous leaders of the House, including Alban Bagbin, and even, some of the deputy leaders in the House who had appeared before them. So convention continued when the vetted Osei came.
Call its leadership privileges. But let's talk about who next is on the vetting, is meeting the vetting committee today.
Yes, so the minister-designate for planning, that Professor Dan Balfour is the next person who will be appearing before the appointment committee. A while ago, I spotted him in the House. He worked in a black and white apparel. He looked very calm. He looked very much composed. This is someone who is himself a member of Parliament, and so he is quite familiar with proceedings of the House, not just proceedings of the House, but he's quite familiar with a lot of the members on the appointment committee as well, who are good friends of his. And so the expectation is that his vetting may well take a far longer time than that of Osei Mensah-Bonsu, but it looks like he's very confident that the process itself will go smoothly and that he'll be able to answer all the necessary questions that will be needed when he appears before the appointment committee.
Okay, very big thank you to you, Gakpo. We'll have to come back to you when the Speaker of Parliament begins to address the press conference, which we're expecting in a bit. But Joseph Opoku Gakpo is a parliamentary correspondent. He's in Parliament bringing us updates. The things that the camera isn't able to bring you this moment, he's brought all of that to you in a few minutes. But speaking of which, he spoke about the alleged fraud/conviction case involving Mrs. Catherine Afeku and her husband, as well as some American partners of theirs, which resulted in a court ruling that meant that they had to pay about 217,000 cedis. She said that they paid a half of it, but then they're appealing that case. This is the explanation that she gave when that question was thrown to her by Alhassan Suhini earlier at the vetting today.
No, I have never been charged with fraud, neither have I ever had any criminal background. But in 2007, I had the opportunity to do business with some American partners, and it's a simple business relationship that went sour. It ended up in court as a civil suit. A judgment was made in their favor, and the claims were very clear that a refund of money, a car, and interest on the said amount. As much as I, myself, my husband, and the company we had established, we did not agree with the judgment. As law-abiding citizens, we complied and obeyed and had paid $117,000 and some change out of the fine of $217,000 until 2013, when we came by fresh evidence in the form of a video recording of the son of our business partners, who was actually a witness in the earlier judgment, confessing that the entire suit was built on a conspiracy between my business partners and a native of Axim, an elderly man. So in that video, based on the evidence, we instructed our lawyer, Godfrey Dami Yaboa, to take it back to court. So we filed an appeal and a suit. In 2014, the suit was ruled in our favor, and an injunction was placed on the earlier judgment. Throughout this court case, there was never any findings of fraud. There was never any findings of criminality. It was purely a civil matter of a business relationship gone bad. As we sit here today, the judgment is that it has been ruled in my favor. Every property seized of ours has been returned, and we are awaiting our day in court to show the fresh evidence of the video recording, and the court will decide.
That is Catherine Afeku, who is Minister Designate for Creative Industry, as well as tourism. Well, she also speaks about boosting local tourism and reigniting cultural pride. And one of the things she said is that she has got an initiative. If she's given the nod, she's got an initiative that is to encourage staff of the ministry as well as parliamentarians to take some annual vacations that will make them go to places or tourist sites and to bring information on what's lacking and what needs to be done. Hear her now on that.
Member for Aburi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Ekwapim South.
Ekwapim South. Thank you for the correction.
Yes. During the transition period, I'm sure you came across the handing over notes. Do you have any idea how much has been raised from the tourism fund and what has been used for as far as this fund is concerned?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes. During the transitional period, we were briefed, and the fund, as of 2 weeks ago, had 16 million, but it's all in investments, and another 16 with 2 different banks. So a total of 32 million has been raised by the fund, and it's all securitized. So it's not sitting in the account, but it's actually placed in investments. Those are the records we were given.
So you're saying that all the money is investments? Nothing has been used for any other purpose?
The previous record actually showed that they had done some capacity building, and some buses were bought for the regional secretariats, and 17 pickups were also bought for the 11 regions. Tama is considered a region by the GTA. So, yes.
Well, let's move to the manifesto. I am picking some points from the highlights. We have the main one here, but the highlights, page 49, says review and actively implement the culture policy developed under the Kufuor-led MPP government to give our culture pride of place in our national development. What is this culture policy that we're talking about here?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2004, His Excellency President Ajikun Kufuor did supervise and assured us with a cultural policy, and it is outdated. We have 12 years ago we did that, and looking at the modern trends and our culture and how fluid it has become, we intend, once given the nod, to reinvigorate the policy so we can incorporate social media, new cultural trends, our fashion, our textile, our foods, and to bring it to the 21st century. Thankfully for us, we have the Center for National Culture Commission with regional representation across the nation, but it needs to be reinvigorated. So when I was put in the manifesto, it was a well thought out plan that we need to reignite our cultural pride, but it has to be done with a policy that is in tandem with modern trends. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very well, the last one. We have some tourist sites across the country. What do you think we should do to be able to market and promote these sites?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once given the nod, I have sat down with the directors and the team at the ministry through the transitional team, and we are all in agreement that domestic tourism is not an area of focus for the nation. So I have come up with a domestic tourism initiative that we intend to start at the ministry once given the nod, that we come back with some of these ideas from outside the country where the staff of the ministry, and it's all agencies and departments, will be encouraged to save, give them a matching fund, and they will visit an annual leave encouraged by the ministry. They will visit the tourist sites. They'll be able to report back to the ministry areas where there are no licenses given by GTA. They will also be able to, during their vacation, report back on the status and nature of some of these tourist sites. And thirdly, they will have the opportunity to rejuvenate and bring up to speed their productivity Not only that, there will be social cohesion. If you are, for example, from the north, and you get matching funds from the ministry and you move to Nzulazo, you would have learned something about your own country. So that is one of the surest way to boost domestic tourism. And there are other plans, but for now, that's the one we want to focus on once given the nod. If successful, we intend to expand it to all the MMDAs and by extension, Parliament as well. So we encourage vacation taking within our country to see the treasures of Ghana.
Okay, that is Madam Catherine Afeku, Minister designate for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. Meanwhile, one of the persons who were initially tipped to be deputy of that particular ministry, Kojo Entry, has been appointed head of the Ghana Tourist Board, just so you know.